connects. Connect it. Headset on, ready to rock.
Hey everybody, John Pinecker with the Mojave Valley Daily News. We are here for our weekly Q&A. We do this every week at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. And today, over in the hot seat, is Kane Wickham. How you doing, Kane?
Doing good. Good to see you guys.
Nice seeing you, brother. Kane is our Laughlin Times, Needles Desert Star, reporter, area editor. I don't know even know what your title is anymore. But anything that isn't Bullhead, Fort Mojave, Mojave Valley, that's Kane. He's your guy. So we're going to lob some questions at him that we've put together, some stories that came out in this morning's papers that we want to get more information about. And then we're also, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the column, in the questions section here, and I will throw them at him as well. All right, so let's start with a little Laughlin Times action. You ready?
You got it.
All right, big story. I think this is amazing. LTAB eyes new motorsports park. Laughlin Town Advisory Board last week unanimously approved spending up to $50,000 for a feasibility study of a new motorsports park. That's pretty big news.
That is some of the biggest news come down the pipe for Laughlin for quite a while, given the number of off-road events that we host. They're annually something between 4 and 5 at its height. We may be down one or so of those that moved. I think one of the promoters moved one of their races away. But it's some of the biggest news come down the pipe for a long time. It solves a lot of issues and allows for a great deal more events to be hosted in Laughlin. The current situation is that the Laughlin Events Park, where all of these off-road races are hosted, just located just off Thomas Edison Drive and Bruce Woodbury Parkway, is BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, federal land. And that requires, for any event to go off there, a great deal of filing to utilize the federal land. That includes dust abatement these days, which is one of the new things. So there's a constant need to water the tracks in the area to keep the dust down. You have a myriad of other filings that you have to do for every single event. Each one has to file all of the correct filings and file them on time to successfully get one of these off the ground.
Pain in the butt. Yeah,
just a nightmare. Kathy Oakes, chairperson of the LTAB, Laughlin Town Advisory Board, put it best when she said for each one of these promoters, they have to jump through about 50 hoops to get one event off the ground currently because it is BLM land.
All right, so let me ask you this. Vincine, who's on now, she just said good afternoon, asked about a time frame. Do you know anything other than, I know the feasibility study, did they give you a time frame of when the feasibility study would be done? If they liked it, how that would move forward time-wise? Is this a year down the road? Is this 5 years down the road? Any of that?
It depends on what portion we're talking about. If you're talking about completion of the park, there was not a solid date set, though there was a year of 2023 bounced out during the presentation. I would not hold that solid because, as everyone knows, these processes can take quite a bit of time once you get started with the various agencies one has to go through.
Are you saying that government is difficult to deal with?
No,
that doesn't seem right.
The main gist here is that this would be a large, brand-new motorsports park that would bring a lot of action to Laughlin. They're hoping to have 11 different events a year. Not necessarily just all off-road, but basically off-road. It would have a seating capacity of 5,000. They would build into the place a race control booth, a tech inspection area, VIP section, a winner's podium with stand and stage, an entire RV camping section. They would wire in fiber optics and broadcast lines. They would also all to the broadcast section just for live television broadcasts of these events. Now, the main gist of doing this new motorsports park is to get it on land that Laughlin owns. Mm-hmm. So this would be Laughlin land instead of BLM land, and Laughlin has a great deal of land ceded to it by Clark County. They are currently looking at 6 different sites for where they might locate this at, and the site has not been finalized. So where we're at right now is the Laughlin Town Advisory Board, at their last meeting last week, authorized up to $50,000 for that feasibility study, which will include site choice, artist renderings of how the thing would look, and a myriad of other aspects of the different build-in sections, how they would look, how they would function, what all they would produce. But the main benefit here, aside from a brand new motorsports park to a lot of different events, that is that the city or the township, of Laughlin, would only have to do all those filings that every promoter has to do for each race. They don't have to do them one time. And then the promoters just come in and lease and bring their event because it's all that's already been taken care of. So that alleviates a great deal of hassle for the promoters, makes it vastly more attractive. And with a brand new state-of-the-art site that would be built out, we would really add to Laughlin's event profile.
Who would own that? Would the town own that?
I believe the township would retain control of that.
Oh, Jeff just put up the graphic for the Laughlin Motorsports Park. That looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, it is kind of a cool little artist rendition of what all we would have. And monster trucks were one of the things that they listed. We have not had that yet. That would be one of the many things that we could have. They were talking about BMX racing, UTV racing, mud runs, obstacle courses, which we already have, Spartan and Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
So that would expand. Those would move to the new location. And all these would be a new course, unlike the one that's currently on BLM land, which, though they do make alterations to it all the time, it really doesn't change a whole lot. It's kind of the same track for every race that kind of goes on. But off-road racing, desert off-road, short course, you name it, they would be able to do a much broader variety of off-roading events there, and it would be a real boost to Laughlin. So his time frame right now is they authorized a $50,000 Fort Mojave Development Fund. They are going to do the feasibility study. When that comes back, they should have an idea of the permanent site or the site of choice. Several of them are located up by the 163 highway. There is one odd one all on its own that's down by Avi. So there are 6 different sites. They vary as to where they are in size and location, but that would be finalized, the artist's rendition, and then they would move forward to that with LTAB voting on approval for funding to try and seek to develop the funding and then begin the construction.
Well, it sounds pretty cool. Hopefully that feasibility study comes back with something positive that we can
I'd love to
all
see
get
it.
behind. Yeah.
Laughlin Motorsports Park.
I support it.
Cool.
I support it.
You'd be out there. I know Matt Laughlin is a big
Well, that's
off-road
something
guy,
I should toss out. This is not the first time that this has come up. In 2015, there was a push to do this as well. Now, that time it was spearheaded by the Laughlin family themselves, Don Laughlin and his grandson Matt, who is the COO of Riverside Resort Hotel Casino. At that time, they were considering building it on land that the Laughlin family actually owns in Laughlin. Some issues arose in terms of the size of the location. They would have had to operate it in perpetuity as a motorsports park for many years to come, was part of the arrangement. That was another factor. Several factors combined to have that not come to fruition. When this came back up, most recently, LVE and Golden Entertainment were talking. Now, LVE is the entity behind the push for this. They are Las Vegas Events. It's a nonprofit out of Las Vegas that is a intermediary for such projects as this between financing the people in the townships and to get events going and further Nevada's attractiveness. But so at that time, that died. When this came back up, due to those talking. Golden Entertainment, which owns the Edgewater Aquarius in Colorado Bell, jumped on board. I know Matt Laughlin is also a proponent for it this time because he's an avid off-road racer himself. And so this has new life breathed in it that it did not have the last time, and much more appealing aspects, the main one of which is that it's on Laughlin land.
I got to believe that insurance companies got to get Matt out of those off-road races here pretty quick. Either Matt or either the insurance companies or Brittany or somebody over there.
That might be tough. Matt's been racing a long time.
I know he has, but all right. We got a question here from Johnny Billmeyer. Johnny asked, and maybe you got some information on this, maybe you don't. What's the story on the Bell? Is somebody going to do anything with it? Heard Boyd Gaming was interested. Have you heard any rumblings about the Bell?
I have not heard a peep about that.
Yeah, they're pretty tight-lipped
the last
over there,
official decree was that there has been no decision any direction on the Bell, sale, replacement, or refurbishment. None of those have come to pass. A lot of people have pointed out that they have seen the place, the Colorado Bell, lit up over the last several months. That does not have anything to do with new ownership or its reopening or anything like that.
Doesn't mean anything. Okay. All right. We have a correction, kind of, maybe clarification to make here. It says seniors returning to Spirit Mountain after mask mandate lifted. Can you kind of, I mean, I think
that's a bit of a misleading title, and I have to apologize for that one myself. What that actually is the Spirit Mountain Senior Center in Laughlin, which is very used, very busy senior center over there, and it provides a lot of good services for the Laughlin seniors, had a requirement in place that required proof of vaccination.
Right.
It was not the mask mandate. It was proof of vaccination, and they had reported that they had encountered difficulty with getting seniors to return with that criteria in place. Several seniors who had opted not to get the vaccine or for whatever reason were not thrilled with that requirement of having to show proof of vaccination, and so several of them, it was assumed that was the factor, had stayed away. Spirit Mountain lifted that restriction about having to prove vaccination, and they wanted everyone to know that the seniors could return and do not have to show proof of vaccination. They're currently running 9 different programs. And they say since they made that announcement, they have seen a noticeable uptick in the seniors returning to Spirit Mountain again. And we list all of the programs of the 9 various programs that they have to date. It's the ones they had before, cornhole, knitting days, mahjong, stay fit classes for seniors, things like that. Basically the same schedule as they had pre-COVID.
Yeah, so it just looks like once they lifted that vaccine proof requirement, the kind of between that and the programs coming back, it looks like they've been picking up pretty good over there.
They have, yes, they have.
All right. Kane also covers needles for us, so we got a couple things I wanted to ask you about in needles. You had a story in today's paper about the Red Dog opening down there. That's one of my favorites down there. I like going down to the Red Dog.
Red Dog's a classic, no denying it. It's
Old
been there
school.
forever and a day. I don't think anyone really knows exactly when the thing opened. The current owner did not. The manager did not, but she has been there. Darcy, by the way,
yes.
has been there for 23 years, started in 1997 with the Red Dog. Red Dog is...
When she was 12.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yes, she was a young lady.
It's been a very famous stop for all motorcyclists in particular, especially during the Laughlin Run. That's always been part of the loop of the Laughlin Run. And they had been shut down due to COVID, and they reopened, coincidentally, the weekend of the Route 66 Bike Week, which was the April 24th normal time for the Laughlin River Run. So that was just a couple weeks back. And that was their official reopening. They are back open full time with regular hours. And they did pull in a lot of people from that Route 66 Bike Week. They're very happy to be back. I spoke with the owner, a man named Ty Kavanaugh from California, who said they were very happy to be back in business, that things are looking really good. They got some breaks out of the COVID pandemic event by apparently he had purchased the land on which the Red Dog is on, so therefore they didn't have to face a lot of issues with rent and being out of business, and didn't incur a lot of debt.
A lot of debt that most people or a lot of businesses have to deal with.
Yeah.
They also, a couple of years back, I think it was right before they purchased it, they had done a lot of renovations to it. So it used to be about the size of the studio, and then they added on a whole nother side, and they got an outdoor patio thing that they held on to for a little bit during COVID. So it's a pretty nice little
About
place.
4,000 square feet now,
Yeah,
according
it's
to
huge.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Yeah, it's very large.
So
I'm hoping that they had plenty of room for all their visitors during the bike run. So
and next time you're in Needles, stop in the Red Dog. You can say you have been there.
next time you're in Needles, give me a call. I'll meet you at the Red Dog and allow you to buy me a drink.
And me.
All
Don't
right,
forget Jeff.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. There's another business in town there that just opened back up, and that is Tina Payton asked about the Sweet Spot.
The Sweet Spot, yes. Sweet Spot, everyone knows it. It's the first thing you see when you come into Needles. It's located at 1401 Needles Highway. Sweet Spot makes shaved ice treats, and they have been there forever and a day. Straight across the street from the strip mall that has the Cook's Thai food restaurant in it, I believe.
You know what you want to say. Quit.
I think it's the dispensary he's trying to
Yeah, he's
beat
trying
around
to
the
There's
bush.
also,
huh?
it's the
Beat
strip
around
mall
the
that has a dispensary. It has a Thai food.
It does have Thai
The Fort
food.
Mojave Indian Tribe has a office in there as
Absolutely
well.
does, you're right.
So it's the one you see every time when you first come into Needles and you're making your right to go to the west end of Needles. It's the little shack that you see there across from that strip mall. And they just reopened the 15th, I believe, which would have been last week. And they are back open now. There's
weekends
basically right now, and I think they on their site even says as they get back into business and the California COVID restrictions begin to lift, they'll be open back to more hours than they are right now. But right now it's just the weekends. So
okay. You had a nice big story on the front there about the movie industry in Needles. I think it said
37 different Hollywood films have been shot in Needles,
insane.
California.
And
it is a real famous film location.
I never knew that.
And I was reading. I knew that the Grapes of Wrath had been done there, but
yeah.
when I was reading through it and I saw Convoy, which is one of my favorite movies from when I was
Convoy.
significantly younger, that was awesome.
Rubber Ducky and Convoy. Chris Christopherson, Ali McGraw, 1979 was, according to the people who were there for that shoot, a real big deal. They said Convoy was a real big deal in Needles. A lot of locals were put in the film, playing different parts. One person in particular, the superintendent at the time, was cast in the role of a local police officer.
Yeah, you said the school superintendent?
Yeah, school superintendent, and he's going to kill me because I cannot find his name fast enough, but
that's my daily dose every day.
He was cast into the role as a police officer, as were many of the locals in that. They said it was a real big deal. It brought a lot of revenue, brought a lot of fame to Needles. The sequence at the end where the tractor that Chris Christopherson is driving that appears to blow up and destroy the bridge didn't, in fact, destroy the bridge. That was a BLM Bureau bridge, which was the only connecting bridge at the time in 79 that connected Arizona to California. Now, it was already slated for destruction at the time they did film that. So one would wonder, why didn't they blow it up? But they didn't blow it up. It was replaced not long after the film with the current one that we all crossed, the concrete bridge that crossed over. Of the other films that they've shot down there, one in particular stood out. That was a cult classic that is now a Criterion Collection classic titled Tulane Blacktop. It was a Monty Hellman film that starred 70s soft pop rock star James Taylor in the lead role as the driver. It had Beach Boys drummer Brian Wilson as the mechanic and famed character actor Warren Oates as a character named GTO. In the opening sequence of that film, it shows the two main protagonists, which is Taylor and Wilson, driving the 1955 Bel Air that they race. They go across the country hustling street races. They drive underneath the North K Street Bridge in the first 5 minutes opening sequence of that film. And it looks pretty much like it does today, except you can actually drive underneath it. So 37 different films, Grapes of Wrath most famous, but Needles is a real film town. So
yeah, and that's awesome to hear. I mean, I was surprised to hear that. So, all right, one last thing. We're going to talk about the Laughlin Job Connect form. You had a story in here about it. I understood it, but maybe we can just give people a little bit more information about it. This is in relation to the requirement now to get unemployment that you prove that you're out there looking for work.
yes.
So the question is, on the Laughlin Job Connect form, is that do you need to do that to prove that you're out there looking for work?
Not to collect unemployment. That's where the misunderstanding comes in. Because in different places around the country, the job work requirement has returned. Nevada is slightly different at this current time, and let me explain that. Sure. It appeared in the initial press release that, or it was interpreted by a lot of people who are filing for unemployment in Nevada, that it required them to fulfill a job search to receive the unemployment. Now, that's not the case. What it requires is that, and it's not even a requirement, is that if you are seeking a job and want help to find a job, you fill out that form, and the people at Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation, DETR, which is the Nevada Department of Unemployment, will help you. They have the various resources that can help you to find a job, but it's not a requirement to fill that out just to continue receiving the unemployment at this time. You can just go on receiving unemployment and not have to fill those out. You only use those if you are seeking a job and want their help in finding one.
Right. Yeah. In that story, you've got, 8 or 9 different ways of looking for either jobs or training or anything else. You got a whole bunch of ways listed in there. So if you're looking for work, there certainly are plenty of chances or plenty of opportunities for you to find it. That's
a lot of work out there right now. Places are looking really hard, and my understanding is that wages are beginning to rise because they are that desperate to get them. Of course, the unemployment packages that were put together during COVID, as many people are aware, were a little more lucrative than they normally would be, and this has been a factor in slowing the workforce to return to work.
Do we have any idea in the casinos where they're at right now, or as far as
capacity-wise? I'm not sure about that. I know they are hiring.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I have not seen a fair come up yet, but there's probably going to be one coming soon. But there are listings all over through the various chambers of Laughlin Chamber of Commerce, Bullhead Area Chamber of Commerce, and other sites, as well as the various property sites themselves. You can go straight to Riverside.com or their website. I'm not sure exactly what the name of that is. Or
Golden's has a
Golden
one, yeah.
Or Caesars, who owns Tropicana and Harrah's now. And you can seek out job openings there as well.
You also had something in here about the library. Do you want to touch on that? We're running out of time here, but
the library is back
business.
Open full on for the most part. Laughlin Library is back to it's back to full service as it has been. It's back 7 days a week. Most of the services are back on. They do still offer curbside service. There are some restrictions remaining in terms of capacity because, as we know, Nevada currently is at 80% capacity. So until June 1st, there's still a little bit of limitation on the number of people that can be in there. In terms of services, they're back to basically full service. You
Excellent.
can do most anything you could be pre-COVID.
Oh, we'd love to hear that these days. Anybody that's back to full service or close to full service or full capacity or any of that stuff, we're so glad
We're
to hear
a week
these
away
days.
from back to normal even in Nevada.
Only a week. Can
Well,
you imagine?
Nevada's
Wow.
normal.
Nevada
version of
normal? Yeah, there you go.
So, all right, well, I don't see anything else coming in here. Chris and Josie Gossett say, Kane, you'd have a great radio voice. So we're not letting Kane go anywhere, so you can just get that out of your head.
Yeah, he's not going to radio.
No.
He's a video star. Sorry.
There you go.
Then we are going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Kane, thanks a lot for imparting your
Thank you,
Laughlin
guys.
and Needles wisdom upon us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Everyone, tomorrow morning at 7:30, we have the Daily Dose. Tomorrow afternoon, we are doing a
Segment.
We're doing a Facebook Live up at ProFit Kitchen for their grand opening.
Eric Fox.
Good
That's
restaurant.
right.
Fox.
Yep.
And then right after that, Jeff and I will be racing back over here, and we have an interview with Mike Huseman for Valley Voices.
Ooh, yeah, breaking news on that one.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
So that'll be fun.
So be here so you guys get to hear the breaking news.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff tomorrow. So check us out.
Tune
Thanks
in.
for joining us.
Thanks,
Start your
everybody.
Thursday right.
That's
All
right.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys later.